because we have a very special guest. Everybody's very special, but some are special. And one such special person is His Holiness Krishna-ksetra Maharaj. And I'd like to ask Maharaj to say something tonight. For those, again, me trying to introduce Krishna-ksetra Maharaj is like a firefly trying to introduce the sun. It's a bit of a joke. Maharaj is a very, very well-known personality. And not only is he a leading spiritualist, but he's also a very prominent scholar of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And he works with the Oxford University group and also the BRC. And sometimes Maharaj also stays with us in Puri. And we're very eager for you to come and stay there again. Maharaj. Thank you very much for coming, taking part tonight. Would you like to say something tonight, Maharaj?
I would. Thank you, Madhavananda Prabhu. First, indeed, my thanks to you for thinking of me. I must say, as I got your email, I felt like, okay, that's very nice, but why me? The very little association I had with your Guru Maharaj, but I took it as blessings of your Guru Maharaj, of Srila Gour Govinda Swami Maharaj, to whom I want to offer my most humble obeisances and my most humble pranams to all the Vaishnavas and to our Srila Prabhupada. Well, let me start with the one time that I had a kind of private meeting, we can say darshan, with Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj. It must have been around 1993. I was kind of the coordinator for the compiling of ISKCON's deity worship manual. The GBC wanted this manual to be put together. They wanted something more elaborate than had been done up to that time. So it was a group of us working on this, but I was kind of the coordinator. So I had questions for Maharaj, and he very kindly agreed to see me. It was in Mayapur. And I have to say, I'm trying to remember now, but I think this may have been the time that kicked off, so to say, something of a mission, something of a campaign on Gour Govinda Maharaj's part. Namely, this what became something of a controversy, namely whether the deity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should wear or should not wear a peacock feather. And as I'm sure all of you know, Gour Govinda Maharaj was adamant that he should not have the peacock feather. Why? Because this would be a complete disturbance of his bhava as the devotee of Krishna, as a bhakta. Whether I'm to blame for kicking that off, I'm not sure, but it was a subject that became a matter of concern. Much more recently, in fact, just a few days ago, I received an email from a very dear godbrother of mine. I think he wouldn't mind if I mention his name, Pancharatna Prabhu, who lives in Mayapur. And he was asking me for my perspective on how the terms sadhu, shastra, and guru might best be defined for the purpose of the institution of ISKCON is in the process since years now. Srila Prabhupada wanted that the GBC have a constitution, And okay, so they've been working on this, and they want the Constitution to be based on Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. Very good. So he's writing to me. Why he's writing to me? I'm sure he's writing to many devotees asking, how shall we define Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru? And then I received Madhavananda Prabhu's invitation to speak today. And I thought, there's no problem to understand what is Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. Just look at this embodiment of Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. Srila Gour Govinda Swami Maharaj. And I like to remember Srila Narottam Das Thakur's song, Sadhu Shastra Guru Vakya Hridaye Koriyo Aikya Satatam Basibo Prema Majje. And I feel like this is very much embodied by Gour Govinda Maharaj, where the result of bringing together Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru in the heart, Sadhu, Shastra, Guru Vakya Hridaye Koriya Aikya. There is a singularity, Aikya, from the word Eka, coming together. What is the result of that? The result is Satatamba Shivo Prema Majje. I will constantly float in prema. And that's what we have seen with Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj. As I was hearing His Holiness Tapasvi Maharaj just now a few minutes ago speaking about how the devotees were coming to Gour Govinda Maharaj feeling disoriented, feeling some confusion or a lot of confusion, and how Gour Govinda Maharaj would preach so powerfully, especially on the subject of Guru Tattva. It reminded me of this little episode of Srila Prabhupada in London at Bury Place, when the temple was first opened, the deities were first established, and you may have seen photos, Radhalan and Ishvara, above them a shelf, and on the shelf were Jagannath Subhadra Baladev. And Srila Prabhupada had seen that this shelf was starting to drop. So Srila Prabhupada personally jumped up and held up this shelf with Lord Jagannath for some time until the devotees worked out something so that there was no disaster. So I was thinking of Gour Govinda Maharaj, in some sense, doing something similar for so many devotees, holding up and, in this dangerous condition, making clear what is Guru Tattva. And I came across this very nice passage from him, which I'd like to share, which many of you have probably read because it's in the book, which very nicely Madhavananda Prabhu has put together. This is on page 318, the meaning of Sri Guru. And I think this connects with this theme of how we have a sense that Gour Govinda Maharaj is still with us. He says, one should understand what is Sri Guru Charana Padma. The words Sri Guru are very significant. Shri means Shobha, beauty, sampada, transcendental wealth or asset, and Shrestha, the topmost. Sri Guru means that guru who is endowed with Shri, with Prema Bhakti. The word Shri is used because there is no question of Shri Guru disappearing or not being manifest. It is only applicable to a guru who is eternally manifest. Otherwise, such a word would not be used. So this is sort of highlighting the understanding of what, okay, we want to define guru. Well, there it is. But as I'm saying, I see in Maharaj all three. He is guru, he is sadhu, he is also shastra, he is embodiment of all of these. And on this aspect of his sadhutva, I was rereading how he was wandering through all of India, but with one single purpose, and that was to find his guru. He was searching, and of course, as we all know, eventually he found Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan. But also, I looked up the word sadhu because they were asking for definitions, and that's what happens when you spend too much time with the so-called scholars, is you want to get, you look in dictionaries and things. But anyway, here it is, sadhu from the Sanskrit dictionary. There are many, many definitions, but one of them is straight, leading straight, correct, and pure. So I thought, yes, this is also very much applicable. And of course, we have the word sadhu in the Bhagavatam several times, and I found this wonderful, I find applicable verse from first canto, chapter 15, verse 46. Te sadhu krita sarvartha gyatvatyantikam atmana manasa dharayam asur vaikunta charanam bhujam. They all, this is referring to the Pandavas, they all had performed all the principles of religion, and as a result, rightly decided that the lotus feet of Lord Krishna are the supreme goal of all. Therefore, they meditated upon his feet without interruption. So Gour Govinda Maharaj, he'd actually already decided long before he met Srila Prabhupada that the purpose of life is to worship Lord Krishna. And that was confirmed, of course, by Srila Prabhupada, who in this case is reminding me of Narada confirming to Srila Vyasadeva, who had this sense also that there is something wanting in his practice of writing. And so this brings us to Shastra, which anyone who has heard lectures of Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj knows he's simply walking Shastra, but not just empty quoting, but giving the life of Shastra. So just a little reminder of the advice from Gour Govinda Maharaj. Hear daily, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. You have your daily activities, Nitya karmas, including eating, sleeping, bathing, and praying. This hearing should also be one of them. Can you survive without your daily activities? No. How many people are collecting Srimad Bhagavatam? Are they surviving? Actually, they are not. Although living, they are dead. Jivan Mrita. Their breathing is only like that of the blacksmith's bellows. So, as we also heard earlier, Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj's preaching was was sharp. It was cutting, and it was sometimes devastating his criticism of devotees. And I feel that, truth be told, Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj has by far not been sufficiently appreciated in the wider world of the Vaishnava community. But I'm hopeful, and I'm especially hopeful that he will become more and more appreciated and revered, heard from, especially as we see you, his disciples. I'm, in particular, I've been benefited by Madhavananda Prabhu with his total dedication to his Guru Maharaj. But I think we have a bright future for the wider society of Vaishnavas to win a greater appreciation for Srila Gour Govinda Maharaj. And as we get this appreciation, he will imbibe in the wider community of Vaishnavas the spirit which he embodied, of being the embodiment of Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. So my prayers are for the blessings, the good wishes of all of you, followers of Gour Govinda Maharaj, to help me to appreciate him, and my prayers to him as well, that I may imbibe something of his quality of ecstatic devotion to Lord Shri Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very, very much, Maharaj. I really appreciate your very deep thoughts about our Guru Maharaj. I have a few reflections I'd like to just share. You mentioned how Guru Maharaj was so attached to Shastra. I remember one class that he gave an instruction to all his disciples, and he said that if you can't quote Shastra, don't tell them you're my disciple. A very sobering instruction. He appreciated Shastra so much. I remember him once looking through a book of one contemporary leader, spiritual leader, and it was a good book. And it was a person that Guru Maharaj was close with also. But he just flipped through the book a few pages, and he didn't see any verses. And he said, "Oh, no verses." And he wasn't interested in looking at the book. He was very, very much focused on Shastra. I was also appreciating your point about how Guru Maharaj hasn't been so appreciated. And this morning in our session, we heard from Parthasarathi Maharaj, and he was very emotionally speaking about that also, and how that caused him so much pain. And as a disciple, someone who's hoping to become a disciple someday, I've heard from a lot of our God brothers, many devotees who want to enthusiastically promote Guru Maharaj. And of course, that's the business of a disciple, to worship their Guru. But there's also kind of a fine line. Bhaktivinoda Thakur uses a phrase, Amar Guru, Jagat Guru, that my Gurudev is very great. And I've always felt that the best way to present Guru Maharaj, it's like someone sitting on the bank of the Ganga, and they're looking at the sun rising on the other side of the river. And as they're sitting there, you go and step in front of them, and you start jumping up and down and telling them all about the glories of the sun. And the sun is so wonderful, and the sun is so bright. And finally, the person just says, "Do you mind just get out of the way so I can see the sun myself?" And so that's partly why we want to have programs like this, because there's a tendency sometimes amongst those of us who had some physical association with someone to think, I know him, he belongs to me, I understand him. And then we just get in the way. And rather, we should just step out of the way and let people see the sun for themselves. And that's our humble desire. And by you speaking, we get to see some other different perspective of appreciation of that sun. I really appreciate so much, Maharaj. I know you have so many different projects you're working on. some of the devotees from the BRC just came down recently to Puri and were telling me about some of the things that you're doing more with the Bhagavatam and things. I know you're very, very busy with the scholarly things and also your disciples and your preaching. And for you to come and spend a little time with us like this tonight, it's very much appreciated.
Thank you. I just want to say, I just read your article. I finally got a copy of your article on Srila Fakir Mohan Prabhu and how he hated it when people referred to him as a scholar and a professor. So I have to say I'm also embarrassed by this, but anyway. But thank you, Hare Krishna.
I remember once in Mayapur, I saw one sannyasi, and it's always a problem in Mayapur around Gaur Purnima time. There's so many sannyasis. I feel like I'm doing push-ups all day long, offering obeisances. And I found myself at a certain point that I wasn't very enthusiastically offering obeisances. So then I saw an older sannyasi. It happened to be Mahavishnu Maharaj, the elderly Mahavishnu Maharaj. And so I thought, I really want to offer my pranams in a very nice way. So I stayed down for a minute and offered obeisances. And he saw me, and somehow it struck him, and he called me over. And he said, "What's your name? Who's your guru?" And I bowed my head. I said, "Oh, Srimad Gour Govinda Maharaj." And then he said, "Oh, your Guru Maharaj, he's a great scholar." And I and I remember, of course, I think his appreciation was not just for Guru Maharaj in an academic way, but I remember when he said that, I thought, "Oh, yeah, I guess so." I never thought of Guru Maharaj as a scholar, and I also don't see you as a scholar, Maharaj. I see you as a great thinker and a Vaishnava, a sadhu. And
Vishnu.
One of the greatest delights for us in the last few years has been when you've come and stayed with us sometimes in Puri, and we have a place for you there. Anytime you come, please do so. Thank you again.